am so excited today to have Connie Bowman with us. I know Connie because I've been on her podcast, Happy Healthy You, and it's just such a joy to have you here, Connie.
Hi, Amy. So good to see you again.
You too. I get to see a little snapshot into your little study there.
This is my office and my voiceover studios in the back, and yeah, I love it. It's kind of my little cocoon. It's down in my basement. It's really quiet down here, and this is where I do all my work. And my husband uses it too, and sometimes I have to come in and say, sorry, out of here. This is my space.
I need my spot. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm in my office, which is a little bit torn up at the moment because we've repainted and everything. So we're in a construction zone, but
nice.
You would never know.
That keeps the marriage alive, doesn't it?
Oh boy, it does. I'll tell you. You know, actually though, my husband and his dad just did an incredible job and basically painted our whole house, and I just got to watch.
Wow, you married into a good family.
I did.
Yeah.
I really did. So I can't complain. I'm a lucky person.
Yeah, last time we talked, I think you had just sort of recently gotten married, and we talked about your book, A Spiritual Girl's The Guide to Dating, and your husband and how you met your husband. We have a great YouTube video. If you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. She tells all her secrets for snagging that handsome man of hers.
I do. You can look on Connie's channel, and I can actually put the description, the link in the description so people can see that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So, you have a new book out. Please tell us all about it. I'm really excited to read it, too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for asking. It's nice of you to have me on. Yeah, I started doing the podcast Happy Healthy You a couple years ago, coming up on 2 years, which is hard to believe. And, you know, I'm doing, I'm on the spiritual path, and I'm doing this work, and I'm meeting people like you who've written books about what they're passionate about, and I started feeling like there was something that I had left undone. You know, it was just like a feeling like I had to do something, and I don't know. It's kind of a long story, but it became the book. So I lost a child about 20 years ago, and it was probably the single most, I mean, as most people can imagine, they say that losing a child is one of the hardest things that can happen, and it certainly was, and so many people go through hard things, and so I'm not comparing mine because you can't compare these losses, but for me, it was really the catalyst for a spiritual breakthrough, I think, and it certainly could have gone the other way, but by the grace of God and so many wonderful people in my life and just grace, really, this horrible, heartbreaking event really turned into my opportunity to wake up and to really see the world from a different place and to really get back to happy. And so here it is. Back to Happy. So that's my book.
Yeah, Back to Happy. So where can everybody find that?
Well, it's on Amazon. Okay. It's on Kindle. And because I'm a voiceover talent, I also recorded the audiobook. It's on Audible. And I mean, it's everywhere that you can find books. You just Google Back to Happy. So
that's wonderful. I'm sure that that's just going to be really healing for a lot of people who've been through that. You certainly hear, you know, from psychologists and things like that, that is the hardest thing to go through. And I really applaud your courage in sharing your story.
Well, thank you. It's sort of I have a little bit of a different format than, and it really just kind of came through me. You understand
because you're the best books.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of came through over the course of a few months. I tried to discipline myself, but, you know, when that creative impulse comes through, you kind of just have to do it when it's So although I said I was going to write a chapter every few days or whatever, it was like one day I just wrote 3 or 4 chapters. It just came through. But the format is sort of I tell my story a little bit so as not to get too, because, it's sad. I mean, and I guess the idea is to bring up some of that emotion, and because everybody has something they can relate to, whether it's death, divorce, job loss. I mean, there's so many things we go through, ups and downs in life, and it is sort of it's a practice to get back to happy after something like that happens. So the format of the book is I tell a little bit of my story, and then I go into the lessons that I learned as I went through, and it's a little bit different, you know. If anyone has read Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's On Death and Dying, which is kind of the Bible for dealing with grief, there's the 5 stages: acceptance, denial, you know, all the 5 stages, the classic 5 stages that you go through. And mine weren't as linear, and they weren't as well defined as hers. So I just tell my story, and if it can help one person, it's great. So.
I suspect it's going to help many people, because so many people go through loss in all these different forms, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's wonderful of you to share your story, and I think it lets people know that none of us are alone in those times, even though sometimes we feel very alone.
Yeah, it's funny, Amy, you know, as I've been doing these podcasts, I've talked to a lot of different people. I've talked to a lot of people like you who are really healers, a lot of wounded healers who I feel are the best healers. And a lot of people have been through so much stuff in their life. And I'm finding that there's a real need for people to come clean and talk about their stories and what they've been through. And I actually, last night, it was so nice. I had this woman, she sent me a little message on Facebook, that little Facebook Messenger popped up, and she said, you know, I lost a baby to miscarriage at 6 months. Wow. And she said, I really couldn't articulate the words to describe what I went through. And she said she found herself kind of, even though she was sort of going through the sadness of losing that baby while she was reading the book, she said it was sort of cathartic because I was able to put into words what she was feeling. And I kind of think that's the gift of being an actor or an artist or a writer. Not that I'm any of those to the fullest extent. I feel
you are. She is both, by the way.
I feel like that's sort of our job is to be able to put into words and to sort of help people express feelings. And I don't feel like I was always all that good at it, and I still am a work in progress, but if that can, you know, like I said, help one person, I'm so happy. So
for sure. And it's a skill that we develop over time, and I agree. I feel the same way, that really my job is actually a storyteller. And whether it's I write fiction as well, so whether it's a fictional story or a nonfiction story, when we read something, when we see a piece of art, when we hear a song, when something born of creativity touches our heart or our soul, then we're fed. You know, we get fed, and then we feel, okay, we're not alone. We feel validated. We have an expansion experience in our heart. I mean, all of these things, I think they're a big part of being alive, because they make more space for us to connect with ourselves and others.
So well said.
Way.
I love the way you just articulated that. That was
Thank you.
Primo girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're here. I mean, we're here to encourage each other. We're not here to tear each other down, which I look on the news, like, in the last few days, like, the whole Brian Williams thing. What is that? So what? He embellished a little bit. I mean, people are getting so, I don't know the whole story, but it doesn't seem like that big a deal in light of all the other stuff that's going on in the world. Quit tearing people down for little things, you know?
It's unfortunate, and I think that just about a lot of things. Last night I was watching the Grammys, and, you know, I like to tweet. I have my little Twitter peeps. I like to tweet about stuff, and some of the comments were just, I just think it's kind of unnecessary, you know, especially, you know, one of the top things that we see as far as, like, disparaging people in a public arena is around women and their appearance. You know, people think, like, they have, like, unlimited carte blanche to talk about women's appearances, and it takes us away from a time of like what seems like reasonable, normal social convention.
Thank you. Yes. You are so right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why are we so obsessed with that? Well, we're a visual culture, and one of the things that we do in this country so well is we create film, and we create great television, and we create all this visual,
which we both love to do.
Exactly. And it's good and it's bad. I mean, it's a forum for, yeah.
It's an artistic forum, but it's, when I think as a culture we're still working out gender roles, and because they've been changing, which is great, we're still working that out, and we've had a long history in our culture in the last century or so of women being seen first primarily as an ornament, as for how we look. Whereas we see guys as more of like an instrument for what they can do. Little boys, wow, you're so great at soccer. And then the pat compliment for a little girl is, oh, I love your dress. We still have those gender ideals ingrained. So I think that's why we get that with commentary on women's appearances. Hopefully it's changing. We're having a conversation about it, so it's a start.
Yeah. You know what the key is, Amy? Here's my thing. I feel like we all need to just see each other's spirits. So just rise up to this higher level where we talk to each other from soul to soul, it's spirit to spirit. We're not looking at race, we're not looking, but unfortunately, we are all beautifully and designed differently, but we're all here, we're all equal. We're all spirits. We all come from the creator, whatever you believe, and we should just read each other's spirits. I mean, when I'm walking down the street, of course I look at somebody and I'll look at a woman who's really well dressed and I'll say, oh, wow, that's sharp. How would that look on me? I mean, so many things go through your mind, and of course you appreciate and judging is a little bit natural. I mean, the judgment has to come in because that's who we are. We have to forgive ourselves for that. But just like to experience the essence of each other instead of the outward appearance, which is it's just playing dress up, really.
I agree.
It's funny, on the podcast I interviewed Rose Tree. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
She's a face reader, and I had never heard about it, but one of my podcast listeners suggested that I interview her, and I actually had her on Skype, so I made a YouTube video, so you can check it out. But she talks about how as we go through life and we go through the different experiences, sorry, my email's going off. I thought I turned it all off. I don't see it on, but anyway, how we go through life and our different experiences actually change the way our face looks. And cheeks mean one thing, and eyes, the way our eyes slant. And she talked about how different celebrities have different things, and how if we go through disappointment or whatever, it changes. I mean, it's really complicated.
I want to watch that.
But it's interesting because, our level of happiness can actually make us more attractive or more... I think, again, that's part of reading the spiritual essence of people.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is, too.
Yeah, a lot of it is how much we glow with light, and it's just a perception. So
definitely. Yeah. I'm definitely going to check that video out. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I have to watch it a few more times because and she's got some books, so I'm reading her books to try to understand a little bit more about it. But it's an interesting idea.
I'm sure there's a lot to it.
Yeah, and to be able to really. Like you and I are talking here, to be able to really experience the beautiful essence of you. I mean, you have so much energy, and you're beautiful, of course, physically, but your heart is beautiful. And I think, like, when you go through a sad thing, like, or anything, you go through a sad thing, you have an addiction, there's so many things that block the spiritual connection for us. And, as we go through life, I keep going like this. These are the peaks and the valleys, the ups and downs, and we have to kind of work through them as they come. And if we take them one step at a time, to quote the 12-step programs, which I also talk about in the book, because I think they're really brilliant and they help people. But if we just acknowledge and accept and take every valley as an opportunity to go higher and really, and just clear away the crap that gets in the way of our connection with who we really are.
Who we are and with each other. And the human experience seems to be one of richness. You know, the rich highs, the rich lows, and the more we can open to experiencing that, being present to that, it seems like the more we get out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the lowest of lows can be our biggest teachers. So
very, very true. They may not be our most pleasant thing, you know, in this body or these bodies in this life, but I agree.
Yeah.
So I have a question I like to ask some of my guests, and that is, I like to hear like your quick answer. You know, what comes to mind?
Okay.
You ready?
Right.
Okay. What is your greatest joy?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is those babies. I mean, all three of my children, Megan, Caroline, and Bobby, seeing them, just holding them. I mean, what greater joy is that?
Sure.
I mean, for me, they have brought me so much joy in my life. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yay, that's a nice answer. That's a great answer. That's really a wonderful answer. And then my other fun question I like to ask is, when has kindness touched your heart in your life?
Oh my gosh.
Probably a lot of times, but...
So much. I mean, at this age, I've had it happen so much. But I think going back to a time when, I was at my lowest low. I had so many people around me. My college roommate, my best friend Barb, when Megan was in the hospital and they had to transfer her from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh because they needed to, it's all in my book, but they had to put her on an ECMO machine, which is extracorporeal membrane oxygenation repair. Ask me how I remember that. I don't know. When that stuff comes, so it's a machine that runs the heart and lung, and they didn't have it in D.C. where we were living, so we had to fly her, and the hospital would transport Megan, but they would not transport me. I couldn't go with her. So my friend Barb was sitting there with me in the waiting room. The doctor comes in and gives us all this information, and it's all very, rush. And Barb just drops her whole life. She says, okay, I'm going. And so she literally rushes me to the airport. Yeah. She goes with me. She stays with me for a couple days. And she just dropped everything. And that's like one example of so many people who were there for me. And gosh, I don't think we realize how much our physical presence is just the best thing when deaths or stressful events happen. I mean, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to say anything. But just being there is so enough. It's so enough. So that's just one example. There were so many examples of that during that time, and since then. So
I'm sure. That's a great answer.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe your friend Barb will see this too.
I hope so, because I didn't mention her in the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. There's just too much to write.
Because there was so much.
That. Yeah.
I'm really excited.
You're like Oprah. What else do you got? Bring on those questions.
I'm really excited to read your book. I'm excited to order it, so I'm going to be doing that today because it sounds really beautiful.
Well, it's a quick read, and actually, when I got it in my hand, it's short, but everybody's telling me it's short enough so that you can read it, and ingest the information, and there's not anything extra. It's just, so when I got it, I decided that one of my chapters one of my lessons was about grace and gratitude. And so I decided I needed a journal, because one of the things that I think is really helpful is to be able to express what you're going through at the time, and also to recognize the God things that happen, because okay, the God things. I'm going to tell you about a God thing. I have to, because I was going to tell you about that with the Barb story. But anyway, so I created this journal called Gratitude, Grace, and God Things. So while you're on your journey back to happy, you can keep track of the little God things, the little miracles, the grace, the people that come into your life, and just be grateful, because I am I promise you, when you're grateful, when you express your gratitude, when you live in that space of gratitude, more goodness just comes into your life.
I agree. My personal practice, if I have anything bad going on, if I'm bummed about something, if I'm disappointed about something, what I try to do is every night before bed, write down 30 things that I'm grateful for in my journal. Wow,
that's a lot.
Yeah, but it's like, and sometimes you might like kind of fall asleep writing it, but then it's really focusing in on the gratitude, all the blessings that we do have every day.
Yeah. I remember when Megan was alive, just because she had trouble holding down food for whatever reason. And one day she ate macaroni and cheese, and she kept it down, and I was so excited. And I specifically remember
those moments.
Yeah, and I remember a moment where she was like 2, and we had just put the Christmas tree up, and she loved it so much. So we actually slept on the couch that night in front of the Christmas tree, and it was just Megan and me on the couch. I'll never forget that moment of, it was like transcendent. Like time stopped. But I want to go back just really quick. Can I just finish the story? So Barb flies with me up to Pittsburgh, right? And it's like the helicopter with Megan leaves from Boston or DC Children's, and goes to Pittsburgh, and we have to drive to Baltimore to the airport, stopping by my house to get some clothes, because we didn't have any clothes, and jump on a U.S. Air flight. They put us in first class. They were so great. Yay, U.S. Air. U.S. Air, you were great to us. So we get there, and one of the flight attendants was even offering to drive us to the hospital. And we're like, but then she had to clean up and change her clothes and stuff. And we're like, no, I think we're just going to get a cab, but thank you. So everybody was great. So we get in a cab, we go to the hospital. Megan's ambulance pulls in this way. We pull in this way. We arrive exactly the same time. Exactly the same time. So I jump out. Poor Barb. She's like, what's going on? What's going on?
Sure.
I know that's Megan's ambulance. How did I know? But it was. So they're pulling her out, and I'm just like, oh, that's my daughter. And the doctors are all looking at me like, who is this woman who just arrived? Oh, that's my daughter. So I just got on the elevator and rode up with her, and I was with, what a miracle. How cool is that? So, and I don't think even at that time I realized what a big miracle it was. But
well, you're in the crisis mode. You know, but your intuition, especially with kids, especially with people's kids, but anyways, your intuition slides right in there. And
mother's intuition is very strong. But it's also an opportunity to really tap into our intuition as women, because just women in general have a strong connection to, when we allow it, when we are open to it.
I agree. Thank you so much for sharing all this. It's been wonderful. So
thank you.
Where can our viewers find you?
Well, my website is www.conniebowman.com. On that website is backtohappybook.com, so you can get all the information about the book. And then also on the website are the Happy Healthy You podcasts, which Amy was so nice to come on last summer. Was it last summer?
I think so. It's been a while.
Yeah. So you can find all the podcasts. You can listen to Amy's. And Happy Healthy You Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. You can like us and hang out with us in the community. So
and Connie's on Twitter. You'll see me tweeting.
I'm on Twitter. I my Twitter thing?
I think it's Connie T. Bowman.
Connie T. Bowman. Yeah.
I tweeted you this morning. It says she's at Connie T. Bowman.
Twitter is a little much for me. I don't know. I can't keep up with all this social media, but
it's a lot. I've started to really love Twitter. I have a lot of fun on there. I don't know. I've ended up really liking it and enjoying it. During the Grammys last night, I was tweeting with people. It's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm following you, but I'll try to remember to follow you. And
I tweeted you this morning, so you'll find me.
Yeah. Oh yes, I saw that. I don't know how I saw. Oh, it comes in my. Forget it.
It comes in.
I sound really dumb.
She'll figure it out, folks. Start tweeting Connie, and then we'll get her into the Twitter.
Yeah, I need some help with that. Yeah. But I want to go on your dolphin retreat. Not your golfing retreat. Your dolphin.
Not golfing. No, dolphins. I would love if you did. Oh my gosh, that'd be the ultimate to have you there. There's just nothing like it.
I'm a good swimmer, so I'd be cool.
You'd be great. Even if people aren't good swimmers, they have tons of flotation stuff, and they show you exactly what to do. I have an amazing vendor for the boat. And we go out in the middle of the beautiful, warm Caribbean, and we get in the water with dolphins every day. I mean, it's just, there's nothing like it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And we do some workshops and stuff, too, and our food is, healthy, mostly organic. It's just bliss.
Awesome. So we can find that on your website.
Yeah, on my website, that's where you find that, amyleighmercree.com.
And I'm sure you'll be tweeting about it, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm always tweeting about it.
Okay.
And it's in October, so we have plenty of time to get everything coordinated.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yay. That would be awesome if you came on the trip. Oh, I'd love it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for watching. Remember to live joy, be kind, and love unconditionally today and every day. And have a great rest of the day.